Hey, it's me, Egbert. E-G-G-B-U-R-T. Check out my website at egbert.com. Now it's back to those two dudes who told me they would bring in big ratings. They better are their history. Here are Brad and John.
Ancient Chinese secret.
Man, I got a lot of editing to do this morning, is all I can say. Okay, John, I have another Bill Eigel sighting, okay? Remember how, was it 2 months ago where I cited, what did Jerry Berger call him? Citem, was it what it was called?
Yeah, a citem.
A citem. I had a citem where I saw Bill Eigel having lunch with Rick and Tracy Ellis at the Brass Rail in O'Fallon. And why were they having lunch with Bill Eigel? Because they wanted Bill Eigel to come back on the radio station.
He was trying to get them a good deal on some skylights.
I don't think so, yeah. They're rehabbing their house, okay. Bill Eigel, in the last couple of days, was spotted at Buc-ee's in Springfield. And from Buc-ee's, he went north. And he is now registered as a candidate in Peculiar, Missouri.
Is that because you believe he's peculiar?
No. It's just because he is registered in the 2026. He has filled out the peculiar application for candidate. It's called the PAC, the Peculiar Application for Candidate in Peculiar, and he's going to be on the ballot in Peculiar, Missouri in November of 2026. Now, we don't know exactly what he's running for. He could be running for the peculiar mayor. He could be running for the peculiar assistant mayor, peculiar police chief, the sheriff, peculiar county. I mean, one of those things. He's down there. He's not letting the grass grow underneath his feet. I'm telling you, he is moving and grooving. First he hits the feds, then he hits St. Charles County. Now he hits peculiar.
Well, here's what I think. I heard that he's running against like Memum for peculiar executive. That's what I heard.
Okay.
It's another candidate in that race. What do you think, Jay? Did you hear what Jay Ashcroft is doing?
What's Jay Ashcroft doing?
Well, he went to the other Springfield. He's going to Springfield, Illinois, because he's going to be a body double for J.B. Pritzker.
Oh, I see. A body double for no.
Yeah, he's kind of a method actor, so he's been working on it all year.
He's not that big.
Like if JB can't be in more than one place at a time, Jay Ashcroft will be there.
He's not that big.
Okay.
I mean, Jay Pritzker is, what's his name? B.J. Pritzker. What's
JB Pritzker.
JB.
No, you have BJ on the brain. God, it's JB Pritzker.
BJ, whatever his name is. He must weigh 350, okay? And I don't think that on a bad day, I don't think that Mr. Ashcroft weighs 250.
Yeah, but if you're looking at the back of a steam train going by going by your town, and you just have a figure up there that's waving, you wouldn't know if it was Jay Ashcroft or J.B. Pritzker.
So seriously, is Jay up to anything, or do you not know anything? Is it just to the point where?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. He won't be hurting for things to do. Same thing as like a Dean Plocker or guys like that. Like they're in line for fantastic jobs right after the election.
So, in other words, it's one of the things. See, here's the interesting thing. You're making my point. Why wasn't that the case with Trump? Because he's an outsider.
What do you mean?
Well, once again, I make these parallels with Trump and Greitens, okay? Because of the fact that, and we've talked about this before, and I know you're probably going to roll your eyes, here he goes again. These are two guys that came out of nowhere. They went from 0 to Mach 1 in one election. The idea being that didn't move up the ladder of, of committee person, city alderman, and stuff like that. And because of that, they're shunned by the political community. Oh, they didn't do what I did. I started at the bottom, worked my way up. And to the point where there are no jobs waiting for Eric Greitens. What's Eric doing? I mean, he's like disappeared off the face of the earth.
Yeah, he'll find some kind of a nonprofit to give him some speaking money or something like that. But I would disagree with part of that though, Brad, not the Trump part, but the Greitens part. Let's not forget that that Greitens was a well-connected Democrat for many years. He was a protege of Democrat Governor Bob Holden. He had his own thing. He worked with Fleischman Hillard, who, by the way, is leaving St. Louis. I don't know if you saw that headline.
I saw that.
And they said they didn't give Tashara Jones' office was complaining that they didn't get a heads up. And Jacob Kern from the Business Journal was like, yeah, but also Tashara was in Mexico. So maybe if they tried to give her a heads up, she wouldn't have been there. The point is, Brad, let's get back to Greitens real quick. I think it's unfair to say that a majority of criticism about Eric Greitens came from the political class because he didn't come up through the system. I understand that argument, and that probably played a role. But a lot of people, Brad, just didn't like Eric Greitens. Like, a lot of people would meet Eric Greitens and be like, I don't like that guy.
You know what? Can I be honest with you?
Sure, yeah.
I met him. I thought he was a very personable guy. He came, this is years ago. He came and made a presentation to the O'Fallon Chamber of Commerce. And you know what? What was interesting was he did an excellent presentation. He's a really good public speaker. And then afterwards, he stayed and he shook hands and talked to people and, went around and, and asked people, hey, what do you think about what's going on with the current state of the state and blah, 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 blah. He couldn't have been a nicer guy. Now,
when was he running at that point, or was that before he was running?
That was before he was running. I mean, it was rumored that he was going to run, but this was pre-actual, him on the campaign trail. And I found him very approachable. I went and talked to him for 2 or 3 minutes, because of the fact that he gave a presentation. I don't know if you ever heard this story or not. He gave a presentation about the fact that, and this is something that I don't know, not too many people know about him. He was somewhere in the Middle East. I can't remember where it was. And they car bombed the building he was in. And the service member he was with, and I don't believe it was a Navy SEAL, but a lot of times the Navy SEALs embed themselves with other forces. The guy he was with was killed. I mean, literally, the guy was like right next to him was killed, and Eric was almost killed as well too. And he talked about the fact about how the idea of when the stuff hits the fan, so to speak, you find out who your friends are. You immediately go into research, recovery mode. You try to essentially. He talked about triaging some of the soldiers. Some of them were killed. Some of them were very seriously injured. And they literally were figuring out, okay, this guy's not going to make it. We need to, go over here and help this guy. It was a very moving presentation. He had pictures and the whole bit. And I'm going like, damn, I mean, talking about, when the guy next to you is killed in a bombing attack, there's got to be something in your head going like, okay, how come it wasn't me? Or how come I didn't meet my maker that day as well, too? You know what I'm saying? And
yeah, and maybe that would lead to, I don't know, the idea that you're bulletproof and you can do whatever you want without any consequences.
Well, but see, here's the thing that bothered me about Eric Greitens. He couldn't get enough of the press when he was running for office. As soon as he gets into governor, press, who are they? I don't know. What do you actually talk to press? No, you don't talk to press. We don't ever talk to them. Remember, he avoided the press like the plague. And I'm going like, okay, dude, you played us like a fiddle. Not me, because I never had him on the air or anything like that. Although at one point in time, here's the other interesting thing. When I met him and I told him who I was, he gave me his cell phone number. He says, hey, if you want to
and you did have him on the air, Brad. You had him. You did a long interview with him on.
Did I really?
On one of. Yeah, it's on. I've listened to it before. It was on your and Shelley's show. You had him on at least once.
I don't remember that. We had him on with Shelley's
show?
Yeah,
you did. It was a bunch of softballs about how great he is and how wonderful he is and how handsome he is.
I never said that. What are you talking about? I don't think Shelley and I ever interviewed him. Eric Greitens.
I made up the handsome part. But yeah, I can send you a link. You used to have a show called the BS Show, and you would put it on YouTube and never promote it. But I listened to it, so when you go through and you see one view, it's me. But yeah, you had Greitens on. You did a long interview with him. You were probably trying to pitch him advertising or something.
John's always so nice to me. He's always so nice to me. Okay. I have the pizza place that you need to go to, okay? The pizza may be crap, but where is this? It's down in Texas. Okay, what city is this in? Is this in Austin, okay? Ooh. A guy by the name of Richard Curtis, 19, walks into, what's the name of the pizza place? The pizza place is, there's a picture of it here, which is actually sort of interesting. It's called Marco's Pizza, okay? He walks into Marco's Pizza, and he essentially, this is last Thursday, 7 p.m., he says, he gives a note to the person at the counter. He looks like he's ordering a pizza, and the note says, don't say S blank blank T, empty the drawer. He then pulled his coat. He had like a warm-up jacket on. Pulled his warm-up jacket away to reveal a gun in his waistband. Okay, now, John, what would you do? Put yourself behind the counter at Marco's Pizza. Dude walks in, says, "Give me all the stuff in the cash drawer, and you won't get hurt." And he shows you that he's got a gun in his waistband. What would John do?
I lift up my shirt and I show him that I have 2 in my waistband.
Okay. No, the quick-thinking employee grabbed the suspect and put him in a chokehold while his coworker called the police. Now it gets better. While the employee and Curtis were fighting, the manager of Marco's Pizza got the gun from Curtis's waistband and tried to shoot him, but the gun jammed. So the manager's trying to shoot the guy. So instead, the manager pistol whips the guy in the face. And when police get there, and there's a picture of him, his booking photo looks like he got the crap beat out of his face. I mean, it looks like it almost looks like there's a couple sutures in his, in the bridge of his nose. He's got bruises all over his forehead and stuff like that. I'm thinking to myself, that's the kind of pizza place I want. You know what I mean? There's no messing around. You come in to rob the place, the guy behind the counter jumps the counter, puts you in a chokehold. The manager comes out, grabs the gun, tries to shoot the robber. The gun won't go off, so he beats the crap out of the guy. Now, the only problem with that is, let's think about that for a minute. That happened in Texas. Now I'm a little bit worried at Austin because Austin's a little bit what do you call it squishy? Austin sort of is that the term you use?
A little hipster, a little keep Austin weirdish,
right. In Dallas or Houston, I don't think there's anything to worry about as far as the employees are concerned. But in Austin could be. Now, let's put this in California or in New York. The manager and the employee are now in jail. Am I kidding or what? I mean,
I believe it. Yeah, absolutely.
And this guy's probably out, and probably the mayor. Let's say pick a city in California. Let's say it was San Francisco. The mayor would get on the radio and say, "What's happened at Marco's Pizza is despicable. This man came in and he didn't have any money and he was hungry. He was hungry and he came in and wanted a pizza and maybe a little bit of cash so he could go down to Walgreens and buy some stuff because nobody ever steals anything from Walgreens." And
you know what? AOC would come out and say, "Hey, pizza is made of bread. He was just trying to steal bread."
Right, and that's okay. Bread's one of the important things you can steal. That's okay. He wasn't trying to steal the cocktail olives. He was trying to steal one of the staples of life, being bread. I'm going and what's crazy about this is it's to the point where I can tell you some places in St. Louis where this would happen. I'm telling you. I know some places where if you go in there, matter of fact, one of my favorite stories was I used to do business with Church's Fried Chicken. I dealt with one of the corporate guys. This is a long time ago. And their old headquarters was right next to their corporate office was up there in McDonald, just south of 70. If there's a Waffle House that sits there on McDonald.
Yes, I do know that. I've been to that Waffle House.
Okay, so you know where I'm talking about, okay?
I know.
A guy comes in there with a rifle and, at 2 o'clock in the morning. And once again, you go to a Waffle House at 2 o'clock in the morning, it's a different clientele, okay? So he walks in there with a rifle at 2 o'clock in the morning, and he's not going to rob the store. He wants everybody to give up their watch and their, this is pre-cell phone days, and their wallets and credit cards and their cash and stuff like that. So one of the guys stands up from the bar stool, the stool at the counter there at Waffle House, and essentially says, "You ain't robbing no blankety blank, Waffle House," and goes after the guy. The guy shoots him in the shoulder. The guy still keeps coming, gets the guy, pulls the gun away, and they beat the crap out of the guy to the point where,
nice.
And the famous picture was, and this is where my buddy comes in from Church's, the famous picture was, this was a fired Church's chicken employee who was wearing his uniform shirt with his Church's on it, and the picture on the front page of the Post-Dispatch was this guy on a gurney, beat the hell out of, you could tell he had been beat up, being wheeled into the back of an ambulance, and you could clearly see he's got a Church's Fried Chicken uniform on.
That's great.
Now, you as a corporate PR guy, how would you deal with that? If you were the corporate PR guy at churches, what would be your statement to the press the next day when they came and said, Mr. Combest, you're being the corporate spokesperson for churches. What do you say about this guy who robbed the Waffle House and was summarily beat by the customers? John, what would you say?
I say that it's fake news. I go into my photo editing software and I put a Popeye shirt on there. And I say this is a false flag put out by Popeyes to make churches look bad, when in actuality, this gentleman was clearly a Popeyes partisan.
And then you would go into the line, if it happened yesterday, your next line would be, you have to understand, he was born in a middle-class family. He grew up in a middle-class family. Right?
And then I'd add a little jingle that said, love that beatin from Popeyes.
That's John Combest. Okay, we have to take a break.
Thanks for checking out the Brad and John Show podcast. This segment of the show is brought to you by John Combest's book, Stalking, Harassment, Internet Trolling, A Guide to Recovering and Rebuilding After Online Attacks. It's a great reference if you've ever been the unfortunate target of a social media attack. It's available on Amazon. Just search John Combest. That's Combest, John Combest, and the book will show up in your search results. Now it's time for another segment of the Brad and John Show. Can you handle it?